All right, welcome back to episode 8 of the Road to the Dance podcast. I'm Chuck.
I'm Chubb.
Yeah, it's been a minute here. Had to take off for the Thanksgiving week there. Not the best week to miss, feast week. We're going to get into that. But to start, we're going to go over some of the changes in the AP poll the past week. So Michigan jumps up 4 spots after an insane feast week. Same thing with Michigan State. They also jump up 4 spots. Then Houston's going to fall 5 spots after that one loss. Iowa State jumps up another 5, another team that had a great feast week. Then Alabama and Florida are going to drop down 5 spots, followed by Tennessee and Vanderbilt. Tennessee jumps up 4, and Vanderbilt jumps up 7. So pretty big stuff there out of the AP poll. There's a couple other minor moves, like Illinois dropping 1, and a couple teams moving up 1, but for the most part, those are the major moves of the AP poll for the past week.
And to get into some of the AP results from the games, Michigan beat Gonzaga. They beat a pretty solid San Diego State. It's just outside of the rankings. They beat Auburn. UK lost to UNC. And yeah, that's all I have.
Yeah, so now we're going to get into, at least pretty much me here, but the games that I was able to attend for the past couple weeks. So was able to attend Marquette versus Central Michigan with producer Vinny. Marquette coming out with a close dub there. We're kind of joking the whole game that they could not establish a 10-point lead. So I would definitely be in panic mode if I were a Marquette fan. Couple losses, couple tight little wins against teams that really they should be getting these blowout wins over. But to be fair, it just really isn't the year for the Big East. I would say UConn and maybe Creighton are the only 2 teams that are remotely stable right now, and Creighton's struggling as well. So definitely not great. But overall, I would say stadium-wise and Pfizer-wise, probably my lowest ranking stadium so far. We were able to get the poster. I don't know if that's visible on frame, but that's always a plus. But no souvenir cups. It just kind of doesn't have that homey college feel, I guess, because it is a pro stadium. I feel like the turnover is kind of minimal from the Bucks games because there's still a lot of Bucks memorabilia everywhere and stuff like that. They do put up a couple Marquette banners and stuff, but all the stadium insides and the concourses are all still Bucks shops and Bucks this, Bucks that, and it's all shut down. But, yeah, definitely a nice stadium for sure. But out of the 4 that we've been to this season, I would probably put it at my lowest. But like I said, still a nice stadium. Then, getting into moving up to number 2 in my rankings, was able to head out to Yalico Arena in Fort Myers to watch FGCU. More specifically, I was able to catch 4 games in one day, 10 straight hours of college basketball. Crazy day. I think it was actually 11 because one of the games went into overtime. But it was Belmont that's able to come out on top of the whole MTE for one division, and I believe Kennesaw State was the other division. Kennesaw State looked really good. I think that they have a group of guys that just likes being there. It's a fun roster. I was able to be moved up to courtside, and all the players getting to talk to them and stuff like that. They were all super cool guys, super hyped up, getting the fans involved. I mean, it's an MTE, so you're not going to have as many home fans, but they actually did bring out a pretty great crowd. They had this group called the banana section. It was these 3 dudes in banana costumes the whole game, just jumping, screaming after every play. It was 3 super fans, and it was just they were the only ones screaming in the whole arena. It's super funny, but yeah, I would definitely say on Belmont's end, they looked the most dominant out of this tournament. They definitely were the most polished, probably one of the more polished teams out of the whole tournament, I would say. Kind of saw, like I said, probably a little bit more athletic, but besides that, just not too bad of a difference there. But Alico, super nice. Staff was amazing. Cups. They actually didn't have posters this year, which was kind of I don't know, but I would say it's still moved up to number 2 just because of I think it's one of the best mid-major atmospheres out there. I was able to meet Brandon Dwyer. That was pretty sick. Super cool dude. Team is super nice as well. I was able to get a couple high fives from them and talk to a couple of them. Talked to George Washington, who's sadly out with an injury, but he was super cool. Took the picture for us. But yeah, overall, just great atmosphere down there. Next game, though, we have Loyola Chicago on, I believe, December 13th or 14th. I have to check. But that'll be a cool one. They're not having the greatest season, but hopefully they might be bounced back by then, maybe on a winning streak. Hopefully we can catch them in the right area, I guess, or section of their season. Yeah, getting into our next new segment here, we call it the Insider. So we are going to give you guys insider information on our favorite teams, kind of recapping for the fans out there of our favorite teams, like Illini fans and Wildcat fans, what it's looking like for the team. Like if you were not able to tune in or looking for a team update, you can always listen in and be able to get that team update. So I'll let Chubby start off with his insider update for Kentucky.
So my insider update, not looking very good for the Wildcats right now. 3 losses, 3 ranked games after going 9-2 in ranked games last year. They're just not looking good. They're not playing good. They were in the driver's seat all game against UNC and then go 10 minutes without scoring a field goal. Well, playing good defense too, holding UNC to 6 in the 10 minutes. But if you want to win, you got to score. When you're a team that should be taking 30-plus threes a game and you're making 1 out of 19, and it was your center on a last-second buzzer beater. But on the bright side, we're going to get some players back. Yeah, that's pretty much all for me. I don't think it's time to hit the panic button yet, but they just got to step up their game.
Yeah. As an Illinois fan, kind of starting to feel same little, are we legit this year? Are we not? Type of feeling. Especially coming after this last game this week was a loss to UConn, 74-61. Sadly, I hate to start out the insider section like this, but I was not able to catch the game. I was on a flight. But from what I heard from other Illini fans, it was the blue jersey curse striking again. For those who don't know, every time Illinois wears their blue jerseys, we seem to lose to teams that either A, we should be beating, or close games, like in UConn. But, I know a couple of years ago we dropped a game to Penn State, who is notoriously bad in basketball. Okay, of course, in the blue jerseys. But the game itself, the combo of refs, the inability to score, the inability to rebound, just really screwed us in the end, and I feel like usually I would have more to say about the game, but like I said, just wasn't able to watch this one. The next game, though, we've got versus Tennessee on Saturday, and this is a huge game for the Illini. I feel like if we do not win this game, we are not legit. I see us more of a bubble team then, possibly. I don't think we're going to get into Big Ten play that very strong. If we do win the game, I think that solidifies us as being legit. I think that's just saying that our opponents that we've lost to are better than us at the moment. They're great teams. Bama and UConn are not bad losses. You pick up your second-ranked win against Tennessee, that would be huge. But like I said, if we do lose, that's when I think you smash that panic button and you're kind of like, okay, 1-3 in ranked games. Not great, especially struggling against University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley. I know we were able to win in that one, but team did not look good. But really streaky roster thus far for the Illini. But huge game this weekend versus Tennessee. We'll get you guys to recap on that one for the next podcast. But now we're going to move on to our teams of the week. I'm going to start off with my Power 5 team of the week. Who else but Michigan? Michigan starts out their feast week with a blowout 40-point win over San Diego State. San Diego State is lacking a little bit this year, but still a huge win. Then they pick up a 102-72 win over Auburn, so a 30-point victory against a ranked opponent. Auburn, you could go both ways on Auburn. I mean, they look okay, but they don't look ranked worthy, I guess. But where they really impressed me was getting a 40-point victory over Gonzaga, who has looked like one of the best programs thus far in the college basketball season. Elite way to bounce back after a couple of shaky games. The squad and the transfer portal talent is really starting to come in and click, and it's looking real good for Michigan fans right now.
Just like Chuck, I also have Michigan at my Power 5 Team of the Week. They won first Players Era tournament. They looked dominant in all 3 games, of course, over San Diego State, 94-54, 30-point win, or 40-point win, I'm sorry. And then the second game against a ranked Auburn squad, like Chuck said, could go both ways, but picking up a 30-point win. And in the final game they played to solidify them winning the tournament against an undefeated Gonzaga squad that looked pretty solid to start the season. They also dominated in a 40-point win. Just some takeaways: Morez Johnson and Yaxel Lendeberg look like the best forward pair in college basketball right now. Elliot Cadeau is doing Elliot Cadeau things. Fans were pretty anxious for Michigan at the start of the season, kind of like they're winning games, but they're not winning games like beating these, mid-majors like by 40 points like they should be. But I mean, after this weekend, Feast Week, they proved that they are a championship contender.
Yeah, definitely good time to be a Michigan fan. Not a great time to be any other Big Ten school fan so far. You don't want to see Michigan on top, and I feel like that speaks for most Big Ten fan bases. Moving on to our mid-majors, I've got Belmont. Like I said earlier, I was able to watch them in the Coconut Hoops MTE. Their first game against St. Francis, I was able to catch this one in person. Great victory. Everything was clicking. I mean, their three-point shooting looked great. Their overall ability to rebound, they were out-rebounding them like crazy. There was never really a point where I felt like they were not in the driver's seat of this game. They looked great the whole time. So then you head into the next game against Toledo. This one was also in the MTE. I wasn't able to catch this game, but they pick up a dub against a Toledo team that looked very athletic in the game that I was able to catch for Toledo. Belmont 87, Toledo 72. Great win there. Then you pick up an impressive win against Charleston. I know that they have a couple impressive guys on that squad, just like, for example, what's his name? Sun Prairie.
Chris Davis.
Chris Davis, yeah, he committed there. He's getting a couple minutes. Great player, great scorer. But yeah, they pick up a huge victory, about 30 points. First team on here that I'm putting that has lost a game in the week. They lost last night to Richmond by 8. So I hate to do it, but you got to throw them on there. They looked impressive when I was able to catch them. But again, that's not even a horrible loss. Richmond is a top team in the A10, which is better than the Missouri Valley in most cases. But, yeah, no, not an awful loss. And it's your first loss of the season, by the way. So they were undefeated going into that game. So definitely not a bad loss.
My mid-major team of the week, I went with St. Louis. Like Chuck said, this was also my first team that had lost a game this week. They won 2 out of the 3, with their only loss being 1 point to Stanford. They lost this game, but they kept it close, and they ran with a Power 5 school, so I feel like that's not a horrible loss. Their 2 wins came against a very, very good Santa Clara squad that, was probably going to be my team of the week before the loss to St. Louis. They were in this game the whole time, 71-70 win. Great bounce back after the Stanford game. And then their last win came against Loyola Marymount, who's another pretty solid team. The Billikens won this game 91-70, and they were in the driver's seat most of the game. Trey Green is one name that I heard a lot, watching highlights of these games. He averaged just under 20 points while shooting 62% from the field over those 3 games. That's going to make him my player of the week. This St. Louis squad is what kind of like everyone wanted them to be last year. They're winning games, playing great basketball. I mean, the addition of Trey Green from Xavier was great, and I hope to see them in the tournament this year.
For sure. Now, getting into my favorite section, the underdog of the week. I've got Columbia out of the Ivy League. This squad looks great. I mean, they are 9 games into the season with 1 loss, and that loss is to UConn. I mean, that should tell you enough, but we're going to break it down here game by game. They started off the season with a win over New Haven. New Haven, not the greatest program, but they are new to D1. That's still a very valid opponent. It's not like a D2 school or something like that. Then, obviously, you lose to UConn, kind of expected. Then they pick up a dub over UMass Lowell, which that's another respectable opponent. They got that dub by around 14 points. Respectable victory there. Then they get a 10-point dub over Boston University. They've been great in the past. Very impressive there as well. Then another 20-point victory over Lehigh. Then a 25-point victory over Longwood. Then a 30-point victory over Fairfield. They're starting to pick up their momentum here. They're looking better and better every game. Then they finally play that D3 opponent. They blow them out. Then last night, they're able to get the dub over Hofstra out of the CAA by 2 points. Probably their best opponent, if not, it's between them or probably Lehigh. That's probably the best opponent, but I would give Hofstra the edge there, and they were still able to beat them. Who's going to stop this Columbia squad? I mean, this squad looking the best out of the Ivy League. Usually it's always Yale that's dominating, and here comes Columbia. So
My underdog team of the week is Lipscomb. They won 3 games this week and extending their winning streak to 4 games. These wins came against Marshall 90-67, Southeast Missouri State 88-77, and Tennessee Tech 83-80. All 3 of these wins are pretty solid, especially after starting the season off very poorly with the 1-4 record. Guard Mateo Esmeralda is one player on the Bisons to mention. Over a 3-game span, he averaged 14 points a game and just under 7.5 assists, as well as 3 steals against Marshall and 4 against Southeast Missouri. This is the type of high-intensity player that the Bisons needed after losing Jacob Ognasovic over the offseason. One other player I want to mention while talking about Ognasovic is forward Grant Asman, who's averaging 13, 6, and 2, kind of taking over that Ognasovic role. But I feel like this 3-game stretch is huge for the Bisons, just kind of getting back into that rhythm. They made the tournament last year. Just starting off 1-4 kind of sucks for them, but they're coming back and they look pretty good this week.
For sure. So what would you say was your top team out of all these 3?
My top team out of these 3, I'm going to have to go with St. Louis.
I like it. For me, I'm going to have to go with the Lions out of the Ivy League. Columbia, like I said, they've just looked great. They're on a huge hot streak right now. They've got Albany up next on Saturday. Very winnable game, especially if they took down UMass Lowell, who's way better than Albany out of the America East. So we could very well see this team move to 9-1, I want to say. So crazy to see Columbia like this. I can't remember a time where Columbia was at the top of the Ivy League. So very cool to see that. First time not picking a mid-major as well. Usually I always go with my mid-major squad. It was close though, but I couldn't pick Belmont, especially with their loss last night. But that's gonna kind of wrap up today's episode. Kind of all been very busy recently, so not the longest episode. We're missing Bubby, so hopefully he'll be back for the next one. No promises on that though. So anything,
Not much. Just might have to hit the panic button soon on both of our teams, depending on their next game. Like you guys have Tennessee.
Tennessee Saturday.
We got Gonzaga. Not too confident about that game. Wasn't confident about UNC. They just flat out look bad. And I don't want to be a bandwagon and give up on them because I love this team, but it's just hard to watch when you're scoring 60 points.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like this is probably the most confident that I've been out of our ranked games. I wasn't crazy confident going into Texas Tech, I'll be honest, but I feel more confident than I was going into the Texas Tech game. Hopefully we can pull out a victory. I think that if the shooting's on, we can definitely do it. Especially, I think we have the squad to do it. We can get the win. It's just, will we? Like, are we going to perform at the level needed to get that win?
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Have the squad and the strength. Just, I don't know if it's the coaching. I don't know if it's the players' lack of hustle, but you can't spend all this money on guys, and seems like they missed on all of them. Well, they could have gotten. Well, they just missed on guys like Donovan Dent and just other guys that probably would have been better than everyone else. But they're injured. But like Chuck said about the Tennessee game, I feel like if they lose to Gonzaga this week, go 0-4 against ranked opponents to start the season, especially out of conference, they might not make the tournament. They might be a bubble team. I think it'd be time to hit the panic button, and I think the seat is getting very, very hot.
Yeah, I mean, the SEC is just as hard as non-con play. I mean, every night in, night out. Same thing with the Big Ten. I mean, to less of an extent, there's definitely teams that are almost a guaranteed win. I would say Minnesota, but I think they picked up a victory last night, so over Indiana. That was a crazy game. But yeah, that should wrap it up for this episode. If you want to hear more from me and Chubb, we are broadcasting some high school games, so go ahead and check out Ocon Broadcasting on YouTube if you want to get some live high school basketball. I'm doing play-by-play. He's color. So yeah, if you guys want to check that out as well, go ahead.
Yeah, as usual, follow, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, and shout out to producer Vinny. Thank you.
As always. So we will see you guys for episode 9.